Good evening. I want to go ahead and call the meeting to order. I want to welcome everyone here. I'm had the pleasure of serving as Mayor Pro Tem. Our mayor is not here tonight, so it's a great honor to sit in his seat. Tonight, the invocation will be led by Councilman Matt Harbin, respects the flag by Councilman John Roberts. Please rise.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, thank you for letting us celebrate the Easter season. I pray for this council meeting tonight. Give our staff, our citizens, health, prosperity, and wisdom in making decisions. I pray for our council members' wisdom and guidance as we deliberate on the items to discuss. May our decisions be pleasing in your eyes. In your name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have a couple proclamations this evening. I'm actually going to read both of them and call special guests. This is actually why the mayor wasn't here. There's two proclamations to read. All right. Whereas the month of April is recognized throughout these United States of America as Fair Housing Month, and whereas Title VIII of the Civil Rights Act of 1968 as amended set forth a national policy of fair housing without regard to race, color, national origin, religion, sex, familial status, or disability, and whereas housing is a critical component of family and community health and stability, and whereas both state and federal offices of the Department of Housing and Urban Development continue their efforts to promote and educate as many citizens as possible about every person's right to enjoy equal opportunities in housing, ensuring that all Americans have the opportunity to achieve the American dream of home ownership, and whereas the City of Anderson continues to affirmatively further fair housing for its citizens. Now, therefore, I, Terrence V. Roberts, Mayor of the City of Anderson, along with my fellow council members of City Council, do hereby proclaim April 2025 to be Fair Housing Month. All right, in addition, whereas the week of April 21st to April 25th, 2025 has been designated as National Community Development Week by the National Community Development Association to celebrate the Community Development Block Grant, CDBG program, and Home Investment Partnerships, HOME program. And whereas the CDBG program provides annual funding and flexibility to local communities to provide decent, safe, and affordable housing, a suitable living environment, and economic opportunities to low and moderate income people. And whereas the HOME program provides funding to local communities to create decent, safe, and affordable housing opportunities for low-income persons. Nationally, over 1 million units of affordable housing have been completed using HOME funds. And whereas the following activities have been funded: owner-occupied housing rehabilitation assistance, home ownership assistance to first-time home buyers, public services, including the promotion of fair housing, in addition to economic development by providing loans to small businesses and micro-enterprises. Now, therefore, be it resolved, the City of Anderson designates the week of April 21st, April 25th, 2025 as National Community Development Week in support of these two valuable programs that have made tremendous contributions to the viability of housing stock, infrastructure, public services, and the economic vitality of our community. Be it further resolved that our community urges Congress and the administration to recognize the outstanding work being done locally and nationally by CDBG and HOME by supporting increased funding for both programs in fiscal year 2025. Signed this 14th day of April 2025. I know I speak for not only myself and all the council members when, we talk about these programs. Like, we actually have a few people in attendance tonight, and this time I actually want to kick it over to Michael Cunningham, who this is our yearly tradition, Michael, of kicking it over to you to talk about the program.
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem and members of City Council, just a couple of things. One, thank you so much for making this very public affirmation of the importance of fair housing and the Community Development Block Grant Program. Probably the easiest thing to do is like, well, you know what, we'll just kind of maybe let it pass by, but you've taken an affirmative step to say that this is something that's important to the city. And these are critical issues. Both of these really talk to access, right? That we're going to make sure that the access is available for everyone without respective of where your social standards or social circumstances are, or your race, or any of those other things, that there will be access. The second one also speaks to the fact that the city is willing to invest in not only having access, but having the resources available to make it available. And so the Community Development Block Grant says that not only are we going to have access, but we're going to make it available through these different programs, which have been substantial. And I really, really applaud the city for the work that has gone into these programs, because they truly do make a difference. As you know, my day job, I work in the healthcare system. And one thing that we know, that having safe housing is a critical part to someone's overall health and well-being. And any community that is willing to invest in that and willing to make it accessible to the people in the community, it speaks volumes about the things that you view as important. So we just want to thank you. And then lastly, as a representative of the Community Housing Resource Board, I want to thank the City of Anderson for their longstanding support of the Community Housing Resource Board and the work that we're doing every day around fair housing and around some of these other critical housing issues. So again, thank you for taking this affirmative step to recognize it. Thank you for the work that you're doing to make it available, and thank you for the difference that you're making by these two different things, the Fair Housing Month and the Community Development Block Grant Week.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Good to see you, Mark. Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I just want to add, just real quick too, a thank you to David Tilley. David, can you raise your hand for me? David's our program manager, running the Community Development Block Grant programs, does a great job, gets out there, helps with the home renovations, has a team that helps them, the financing, and it's just a great resource to our community. Also, our finance team is heavily involved in the grant itself and the block allotment. So I want to thank Margot Martin and her team, including Elizabeth. Elizabeth's here, and not only does she know transit accounting very well, and the federal side there, she knows the Community Development Block Grant and the Housing and Urban Development accounting very tightly as well, which is also another interesting compliance that you have to pay attention to from an accounting standpoint. So we do a great job there, good team for it, and just want to give them quick thanks.
You got a great team. We'll jump into it. We've all been provided a copy of the minutes from our March 24th, 2025 meeting. Without any changes, do I hear a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make the motion.
Got a motion by Councilman Steele, second by Councilman Thompson. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes unanimously. All right, old business, comprehensive plan, Mr. City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. So this comes to you on second reading. In accordance with the South Carolina Local Government Comprehensive Planning Enabling Act of 1994, the Planning Commission approved a resolution recommending adoption of the plan at their February 20th meeting, including a public hearing. The City Council conducted a public hearing on March the 24th prior to approving it on first reading. And it's back to you on second reading of the ordinance. I'll turn it over to Development Director Maurice McKenzie to go over the background of this.
Thank you. This has been a long time in the works, as you know, but it has been a very worthwhile process as we work to create a plan that will provide a guide for our approach and development decisions moving forward in the future. And you as a council have been very involved in this process, and we appreciate your guidance and support over the past 2.5+ years as we went through this process. But Mr. McEwen mentioned that we did conduct 2 public hearings, one with you, the City Council, also one with the Planning Commission. But during this process, we also had a lot of other public input opportunities through stakeholder meetings, community forums, online input opportunities, things like that. So we did obtain a lot of public input throughout this process. And this does come before you tonight on second reading, and if you adopt it, we will put this plan to work right away. And keep in mind that we will continue to revisit this document moving forward for any refinements as necessary.
Awesome. Thank you. I know there's been plenty of opportunity for public input, but is there anybody who'd like to speak on the proposed comprehensive plan in the audience? If not, we'll go ahead and move it to conversation from council. Councilman Harden?
Mayor Pro Tem, I was absent at the meeting that it was presented the first time, and, you know, I read through the minutes, and I'd like to ask the city manager real quick. I know it was a long, ongoing process, and I think once it got posted, sort of the preliminary or the final version, there, some people in the community had, you know, the comments of, I didn't know anything about this. And it was a little frustrating to me because as a city government, I think our staff, bent over backwards having, I mean, I can remember 3 that when I went to the below the parking garage, and, you know, there were stickers everywhere, and people were talking about things, and it was a very vocal meeting. So could you just real quick go over that process that somebody missed of
Sure,
what we
yeah,
did?
absolutely. So, one, the comprehensive plan is required by state law so that you can do zoning. And so, of course, cities have always been very, very diligent about zoning. There's some counties that do not have zoning, and they have it in pockets. And some counties just do it in pockets. Cities take a long-term planning approach to this, and so with the comprehensive plan and taking this on, we were working off one that where Anderson had really changed, and we could forecast that the city was going to change in a lot of different lengths. We're still on revitalization efforts coming from the industrial base, but certainly changing to a more modern industrial and manufacturing and healthcare and educational economy. So very proud of where the city's going. But this document, we started working on it and working closely with national consultants on it, and did a whole marketing campaign where we pumped it out on all our social media platforms, and we have several, I mean, almost 10 different platforms that we put it out on. And then we also had events, and the events, you were actually able to come in, take a look at the plan, and we did areas where you could actually design certain areas of the city, and there were separate groups, and they had a vision, different visions for those areas of the city. And then that was combined, and all that input was put together to create ultimately the guidance in this document. And then what this document will do, again, it's the guide stone, right? So it's the guidance, it's the long-term plan as far as how you zone, how you do urban planning. And so it will convert into actual zoning regulation. And so that's the next thing that we've been working on in parallel with, but we'll be coming to you guys. There's a lot of details in that though, because there's a lot of very specific things, like how many trees you can have on a road frontage and specific feet and what that looks like. And instead of what it used to be is a very dry document, including the comprehensive plan, where it was just words. But now it's very illustrative. It has maps in it. It gives really the public a more illustrative approach of what you can understand the document and the vision for it, and then how that converts over to the zoning ordinance, right? If you look at the zoning ordinance right now, it's very just words and narrations of regulations. And what it will provide is illustrations. Okay, this is what landscaping should be for this area. This is what the signs should be for this area. And we've already taken the proactive approach to move ahead, adopting the new sign code and also the landscaping code. Anything you want to add to that, Andrew, about the process as far as the public process?
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. So there are a couple different components to the process that we had. We had several public meetings. You know, we obviously invited the public in because, especially early on in the process, we want to engage as many people as possible in casting a vision for development for the future of the city of Anderson. So we want to know what the city of Anderson wants to be. You know, we want to know what the citizens and business owners want their future Anderson to look like. So we did public meetings, public engagement. We kind of, Mary Haley and I went on a dog and pony show, a road show around town to Kiwanis Club, to Rotary Club. We just talked to as many people as we possibly could and kind of took everybody through the same feedback process. All in the background, we had a dedicated project website where you could actually submit comments and submit feedback, submit things you want to see, submit things you didn't want to see. We had maps where we could, people could actually highlight areas that they wanted to preserve or areas they wanted to see developed and different ideas for that that they've seen kind of around the country as they travel even. So, no, so all that was kind of put together in one big document, kind of an existing conditions and vision summary. And then the consultant staff, David mentioned, kind of put that through the ringer and crafted a document for us and brought it back to us that we put out as a draft to you guys and the community online. And just kind of worked through it as staff to kind of craft based on what that feedback we had received was. Then we again put that back out to the community to review. And we got several comments back on that, some typos, some mistakes, and inconsistencies, and so those were corrected before it came to you guys, and you guys have, like David said, approved it on first reading.
So with that, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I mean, I feel like this document, I think sometimes, when sitting up here in government, that this is something the government's pushing on the people. But I feel like this document was crafted by the people and molded by the citizens that took time to be involved in it, and we narrowed it down their ideas and come up with a comprehensive plan. So I'd just like to thank the staff for all their hard work in shepherding the citizens into coming up with a comprehensive plan. With that, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem, I'd make a motion we approve this on first reading. Second reading? Second reading, excuse me.
We got a motion from Councilman Harmon for second reading. Do I have a second? Second by Councilman Roberts. Further discussion?
I just
All
had
right,
a few
Councilman Stewart.
comments. So I have received a lot of feedback, either by phone call or email. When I say a lot, I mean more than usual. It's still a handful, but I've addressed with each person who's reached out their concerns. But I believe that if they're bringing those concerns to me, those are probably concerns of the average citizen, or in some cases, these people weren't citizens of our city. They were outside the city. And they were affected by these changes. So I kind of wanted to note some of those concerns and note some of the ways that the plan addressed those concerns. One was a concern that development along the east-west corridor would cut into bikeability and walkability. I noted that, all those bike and walk trails are dedicated bike and walk trails. They aren't going to be going away. They are still going to be preserved for people to bike and walk. And in fact, our comprehensive plan addresses mobility and bikeability and walkability, and we hope to increase, as part of that plan, opportunities for our citizens to get around by alternate means of transportation other than just cars, as our city continues to grow. So that was one concern I heard, and I'm glad that issue was addressed in our document. Another was, hey, why is all this focused attention on, kind of the north end of town? Shouldn't you all be looking at all areas of the city? And I pointed out that the comprehensive plan is just that. It's comprehensive. We are laying out a vision for every single neighborhood within our city. We want every single one of our citizens to be successful and to be able to create city policy as part of this that allows all our citizens to thrive, whether you're on the northernmost side of the city, the easternmost, westernmost, southernmost. That's going to be important, and I think this document does that, and I noted that. And then the kind of the final concern was, if we have this moving forward, what if it allows something problematic to come in? And this was discussed ad nauseum, I think, by my own questions to Mr. McKenzie. But there is a process for each and every project that comes before us. This comprehensive plan is a vision and a guide. It's going to set the tone, so we do, as was noted earlier by our city staff, have standards. So we're not just haphazardly allowing whoever to throw whatever anywhere. We want to make sure that anything that happens is high quality. It's high quality development. It's something that's going to benefit our city and our citizens. And I think this plan actually helps us do that rather than hurts that development moving forward. So I just wanted to address those and say, I appreciate the feedback that I've received. I believe our citizens are engaged. And I really do think as Councilman Harvard said, this was a document made with their feedback, and I think it gives a good framework for our city to thrive for generations to come. So, thank you for letting me make those comments.
And can I add one thing that I forgot to add, Mayor Pro Tem? I mean, these meetings were not just for Anderson, the city residents of Anderson. So when, it was for anybody in our community that wanted to participate in the drafting of the comprehensive plan. You didn't have to have a city address to do that, so.
That's correct, yes.
It was a
just-
community.
Even regional. I mean, we had regional interest in it that attended, and especially on the mobility side. And, they had great input. We also had regional interest on the tree preservation side of things, which we have taken an aggressive approach to as far as going ahead and adopting some language there through the process to get ahead of some of these new developments. And so, yes, Mr. Hartman, you're correct. It was open to all.
Some great comments. Any more discussion?
Mayor Pro Tem, let me follow a couple of comments here. As council, this is one of the most important decisions we'll make, the future of this city and the growth of the city. And it's very public that our aspiration is to be the most desirable city in the region. And that's a high bar. So this helps set that vision. Being an engineer, I like to try to boil things down to the most basic components. In our discussions with Halsey Levine, there were 3 components, and this has been seared into my mind, but what is your vision? Where do you want to go, in other words? Where are you right now? And then what do you have to do to get there? That is as simple as it gets right there. And that's what this comprehensive plan does. Lays out the vision, where we are, what do we have to do to get there.
Any more
That,
discussion?
in my area, one of the big things that citizens were concerned about was housing. And as we develop this plan, as we approve and develop this plan, do we have any special areas that you're really going to start working on more than any others? I mean, you're going to do all of them, I'm sure, at some point. But what do we have in mind now, if we have in mind now, where do we start?
One of the most immediate things that's going to happen upon adoption is we're going to start working in earnest. We've already been working in earnest on our development code for the entire city. When we talk about housing, the most impactful thing we can do is create a regulatory environment, development code that allows housing in a way that Andersonians think is appropriate, right? So we're going to create a code that is clear, easy to understand, easy to read, but that allows the type of housing that we want to see moving forward in areas where we want to see it. So we've already gotten some language last week that staff has been asked to take a look at from our consultant to start getting down that road on putting together good policy that lets housing happen in a way that's appropriate for us.
Any more discussion?
I wish I had more details for you, but that'll come for sure.
I look forward to that. I mean, I know the last couple of years, especially with Mr. Roberts, and I think with Mr. Chapman when he was here as well, but, kind of started the whole housing, what it looks like, what's right. We got rid of the 4-inch on grade slab, that immediately addressed water issues from just I guess the most basic of standpoints for a lot of the houses. But then the aesthetics come into play, et cetera. So, and that was a few years back. This has been incorporated along with this, so that's exciting news to hear and look forward to it. I think at the end of the day, we're doing our best to make sure this is a place we're all proud of, a place that we want our children to grow up and hopefully stay and, or move back to at some point. But I think it's something that we're all proud to say, hey, this is Anderson, this is the vision. And I appreciate everybody's input. I appreciate the staff and planning, you guys, and our partners along the way, and the community. So, and each of y'all. It's been a lot of conversation. So.
Oh, yeah. Any more comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Mr. McEwen, Transit.
Okay, before you is a request to purchase 3 buses for the Lancaster City Transit System. We did have a briefing on this, informal council work session at 5:30 just before the meeting. Presentation was delivered to council on the different type of bus options, the pricing options, the features, and with that, I'll turn it over to our transit director, Keith Moody, to go over the background, the request to purchase.
Thank you, sir. Mayor Pro Tem, City Council, Mr. McEwen, Mr. Strickland. We're bringing before you the request to approve the purchase of 3 transit vehicles. The city currently has a fleet of 9 Eldorado low-floor buses, 3 ADA Ford Transit vans, and 1 support vehicle, a Ford Explorer. We're replacing a 2012 Eldorado 35-foot bus, low floor, a 2014 Eldorado low-floor bus, and a 2019 Ford Transit van that we'd like to upgrade to a bus, 35-foot bus. The federal government requires us to have an independent cost estimate done, which is an ICE. We did that. We came back with the hometown manufacturing for the 35-foot bus. It has got a cost minimum of $455,000 to $554,000 with an 18-month build time. The Gillig 35-foot bus, these are all low floors, is $580,000 to $625,000 with a 24-month build time. And the New Flyer 35-foot low-floor bus is $625,000 to $725,000 with 24-month build time. Overall, this is going to replace equipment. We'll have a better support and safer and more cost-effective for the riders and the more friendly for the transit system. The funding, as you see, would not exceed the $1.662 million. We'd use the CARES Act, the FTA 5307 grant, and the local match. And it's the recommendation of staff would be to approve the 3 35-foot low-floor trolleys from Hometown Manufacturing, not to exceed $1.662 million.
Thank you. I know we had a work session beforehand, but does anybody have any additional questions?
Can you show a picture of what it's gonna look like?
Yeah, let's see if we can bring that back up. I'm not sure if we'll be able to.
But just as a note from the work session, it's a trolley style bus
Yes, sir.
that we're doing on these, and I think there's some demand for that.
There
I've actually
definitely
heard
is. A lot of
several
people.
conversations recently about the old ones that people have seen and whatever happened to those. So I'm excited to see these come back into a rotation. I think it'll look really nice. We're not sacrificing any safety or efficiency. So with that, I'd make a motion that we approve this request.
Second that.
Got a motion from Councilman Steele, second from Councilman Thompson. Any further discussion?
Mr. Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Stewart's not here tonight, and he would ask, the 3 buses that we're replacing and the other vehicle, I assume we'll sell those or will we keep those for backup, or is there a plan on that?
Yeah, there are actually some regulations on that. So it's kind of like the old fire department grants that you would get, but there's some regulations of what you can keep in your fleet. And so Keith, you want to talk about the sales process on that?
Yes, sir. The federal requirement is it's a replacement program. So once you bring in the new equipment, we have to rotate it out of our fleet. And we can put that out on Gov Deals or something like that for people to bid on. And then we have to remove it from the fleet.
How many extra do we have in our fleet now?
Right now, we don't
Well,
have.
at the moment,
Zero.
with some accidents and other mechanical issues, yeah, we're pretty narrow right now. But with the 6 routes, you normally have 3 as backup. And then you also have the Ford Transit vans that can run in a loop and do that as well. Matter of fact, we've been using, if you look at that 2019 Ford Transit, that was running the Belting route. And said, 2019, you say, oh, wow, 205,000 miles on it. But it was running that rural route to Belton and Honeypath and coming back and picking up those miles. But anyways, we also have those as well if something goes down. So and it works. It will work on that route. However, the ridership's really been picking up, and so that's why we need for the range and also for the seating capacity a full-size bus for that route now.
We have a great transit department. I know a lot of times people don't quite understand how expansive it is. The amount of times, someone tell me, I saw a bus of y'all's in Belton, or up towards Middleton. A lot of times I think people think, oh, you're constricted inside the city limits. But I know we go much, much further beyond. And I hear great things constantly about it. It's just, I think a lot of times people don't recognize the region essentially that we serve.
And we transfer to the Clemson system as well at Tri-County Tech and Pendleton. So we have a transfer point there, and you can jump on their system, and you can network all through their different points, which isn't just Clemson. It includes many of the areas around, including Seneca.
It's great for our citizens.
I was gonna ask, how many routes do we have outside the city limits? For instance, going to Belton, Honeypath, or whatever, and Tri-County Tech. How many of those routes do we have that go outside of the city limits?
How many total stops, or how many?
Well, I guess I'm asking.
How many buses?
Buses do we have that go outside the city limits to accommodate neighboring city?
Yeah, all of them go outside the city limits.
They all do?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Okay.
So at one point, they all go outside the city limits.
And that brought to mind what I saw in the paper, I guess last week, with the bus up near Tri-County Tech.
Uh huh.
There was an accident.
Yes,
One
ma'am.
of the buses was destroyed or whatever.
Yeah, it was. We'll see what the assessment is on it. We haven't made it that far yet.
No one was hurt.
No, there was some major injuries. Not on the bus. The bus there was an injury and a couple other minor injuries. However, the bus did a very good job in keeping the passengers safe. We had a vehicle cross 3 lanes of traffic and front in the bus, and so the bus was well built, and was able to withstand the impact and ultimately protecting the passengers' lives. So we were fortunate there, very sad and for the loss of life of the vehicle that lost control and came over to the bus.
This doesn't have anything to do with the purchase, but when I asked the chief, what about safety on the buses with the ridership, I guess you would say, and the drivers? Are we doing anything about that?
Yeah, so a lot of safety things are built into the bus, from the technology itself and the lane change into the camera system. There's many cameras on this bus, from filming the driver to filming the outside of the bus on both sides, and the rear, the front. And so you have the whole bus and the outside of the bus is under surveillance, and it can be checked in at any time and also tracked by Keith, and he does that. So he's monitoring in real time what the bus speeds are, how they're traveling. He can take a look at the cameras just from his office and see what's going on in any bus at any time. And so we're very much committed to safety. Safety's number one on the transit system, and unfortunately, when they're on the road 12 hours a day, there's going to be some impacts, and that's we had that occur. So,
Any more discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, passes unanimously. Before we leave, Mr. McEwen, you want to mention the soiree?
yes, and Andrew had a list here, because I saw it earlier, of several different items to go over with that. So thank you, Mr. Mayor Pro Tem. Mr. Strickland.
Yeah, it's everyone's favorite time of year. Soiree is next week, next Friday and Saturday. We've got some major headliners. Clay Walker is our headliner for Friday evening at the Papa Bear main stage down on South Main in front of City Hall. And then we've got events throughout the day on Saturday as well for family. We have a lot of District 5 and Anderson University students and performances, dances. So no, come on down, have a good time.
Should be fun. With that, have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Dr. Thompson, second by Councilman Roberts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed? See you in 2 weeks.